once again for the renegade master. Back 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 once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades, we are back into All That Is Love Island season 10 episode 9. Now we know from the last episode that Leah and Charlotte have now entered the chat, so it's new meat and new fodder for the villa itself, and we shall see how that goes. So yeah, as we know, Molly didn't like it in the slightest, Zach having those dinners with people, and so she is not going to hang about and let Zach form no connections with nobody else but her at the end of the day. Because if we think about it, Mitch, as we think, is literally gone by the wayside. Like, he don't want nothing to do with Molly whatsoever, starting from, I think, the night before. He was done with the foolishness and the rubbish. So you see Molly and Zach share a kiss and everybody hawking them. Mitch was gone. My boy was gone. Because you know what he went and did? He then decided to grab Leah and go and have a talk with her. Now, the thing I've noticed about Mitch is he has a certain pattern of chatter when it comes to the ladies. He always says the same damn thing. Like, especially what he wants out of the future. He always talks about dogs and a family and this, that and the other. Yes, yada, yada, yada. You don't really get past that to know who the person that Mitch really is. Because there's some parts of him where I'm thinking that this man is like putting on a face. Like, he's out to impress. He wants to get with someone. He wants to do that whole go out with someone. He wants to share his bed with someone and all this, that and the other. But yeah, he does do the same pattern of chat that I've noticed through this episode and some of the others that he does do with the women. Some of them think it's quite funny and endearing, but to me it's annoying, because I'm kind of like, well, what more are you going to offer in that sense? What more can you say about yourself? I'm sick of hearing the same old pattern responses. But that doesn't just go for Mitch though. It goes for quite a few of them in that place. They don't really say anything different. And as I said, it is the type of environment where they are literally playing a game with each other. They're literally playing a game with each other and hoping that any one of them come out on top. So then it goes to Ty and Ella. And basically, I think Ty is wanting to be able to explore and have a chat with the new girls. But I think in this one, he's feeling kind of Leah a little bit more. But Ella's kind of like, yeah, she ain't feeling that. Them two, I'd say with Ty and Ella, they literally don't know how to communicate with each other. From what I'm seeing so far, they honestly don't know how to communicate with each other, because Ella was kind of pissed. As we know, she was looking over the terrace and watching them with their dates, getting irate because Ty was talking too much or saying too much or putting down too much banter, and she don't like that. But what she's also got to recognize is that Ty is going to be trying to change habits of a lifetime in order to get to the type of space or be the type of man that she wants him to be. And he's honest where he's saying that he's not there yet. He's not there yet, and he will let her know when he is there yet. But at this moment in time, I think there's going to come a time where Ella's probably going to need, if it happens, to let him get his flirt on, get that inner foot bag out, and know that she will be there in order to talk to him and rein his ass back in if she needs to. Now, if he pushes past the boundary and pushes past the point, then Ella has her answer in who Ty is as a person and whether he'll be able to change that behaviour that he's had for a lifetime. So time will tell with them too. So basically, Leah and Ty are talking, and Ty is basically like, you know, getting his flirt on with her, but Leah's got the impression that, you know, which is true to have, because as I said, they watch the show before they go in. They watch the show before they go in, so they know who they like already. They know who they're probably going to try and get to know, and they know how the couples have worked with each other already, and who's like being quite serious with each other in order to see if they can, like, you know, force themselves into that gap. So Leah's there basically saying to Ty that she believes that, you know, he's kind of like closed with Ella. So he's saying now that he ain't closed off at all in the slightest. And I'm like, when they say this closed off business, I'm like, are you a shop? Are you closed for business? Are you a shop? Because my words would have been is, now I'm not in it with no one at the moment, but I am open to talking to other people, and I've had that discussion with my partner at the end of the day. So basically, while they're having their conversation, Ella and Jess are in the kitchen, and Ella and Jess are like looking over, especially Ella, in terms of what Ty is doing, because he's having a nice conversation with Leah. And yes, it is getting rather flirty, because he then gets her to give him a twirl. Now Ella is watching all of this, like, as he said, he's preying her to, she is preying him too much, like preying exactly what is going on. So she hasn't really give him that space. And that's my thing as well, is when you say, oh, that's fine, if you want to go talk to people, it's okay, it's fine with me. Stop giving people these carte blanche when you know you're going to have an issue with it when they go and talk to people. I understand why Ella got a little bit upset, because Ty was literally taking it to a boundary where he's getting this girl to like do a spin for him. So in order for Leah to do a spin for him, he's literally taking in the proportions of her body. That's what guys do when they ask a girl to do a little, you know, a little turn. They want to look at the proportions of your That's what they want to do. So Ella knew that straight off the bat. So that's why it was disrespectful to Ella. So I kind of understood where he was coming from. At first I was kind of like, I don't get why she's so angry. But then on reflection, then I understood why she was getting angry at that. Because yeah, you don't want your man sitting there. Yes, you gave him that permission to go talk to others, to get to know other people, because that's the name of the game at the end of the day. But you set a boundary in regards to how far you believe that should be taken. Now he should have respected that boundary, but it didn't, and it caused issues for them that night in the long run. Now, as I said, Ty and Ella are two people, when they're not happy with something, yes, they're straightforward, yes, they're honest about saying it. They don't have any diplomacy when they're saying it, and they don't really know how to actually communicate with each other without each other trying to talk over the other one. They're not really, as they say, actively listening to what the other one is saying, in which to come back with a, oh, okay, I hear you, but da 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 da. They don't do that. They're both wanting to egg at each other all the time. So what we have to understand in regards as well to these relationships is, everybody knows at the end of some of the weeks there's going to be a recoupling. 1 week it will be the girl's turn, 1 week it will be the boy's turn. So they in essence do have to find somebody that they'll potentially recouple with, and they have to do that in a roundabout way of getting to know people. But what I would always say is, don't piss off the person that you're already coupled with if you're hoping for them to pick you in a recoupling, if you think the person that you're trying to get to know may not do that. And I think that's where Molly has kind of burnt her bridges with Mitch. So the expectation then would be for Molly or for Zach to pick each other in any type of recoupling that comes up. But as I said, this fucking island is fuckery. The producers who did all of this in regards to the challenges and the recoupling are fuckeries. So anything could happen, basically. Anything could blow the shit wide open. So then it goes to, like, you know, Leah and Charlotte are talking and saying how nice people are. And I'm like, you still kind of have to be a little bit wary, my love. You still kind of have to be a little bit wary, because at the end of the day, these girls are already coupled off with these men who they've started to make headway with. and they really don't want you moving in on what they consider theirs. So expect some pushback and expect some competition. That's all I'm saying. I would say the out of the girls who have really come close, like have kind of bonded, that I've seen and had a good like friendship, is Jess, Kath, Wit, and Ella. Them four are kind of like sisters, man. They're literally everywhere together, and they bounce off each other too. And yeah, they do. They search each other out to give advice and everything like that. And I would say them four are really, they are nice girls. They are nice girls. They don't necessarily backbite people. And the thing of it is if you've got anything to say to them, you go to them. And if they find out afterwards, they'll be coming to you themselves. That's how they are. So then it moves on to like Ella speaking to Andre about the situation with Ty and Leah at the moment. And as Ella's saying, he can get to know them, but don't be so flirty with them in front of her. And I'm just like, she knows this man is a self-confessed fuckboy at the end of the day. And Ella might be turning herself up to a world of hurt. We don't know, but we shall see as time goes on what happens between them two. But as a couple in general, I have to say I do like Ella and Ty, to be fair. I do like Ella and Ty. And I think if anything is going to make Ty kind of like reflect and change his behaviours, I think it would be being on this show, because it'd be kind of like therapy in itself, because he ain't got nowhere to escape to, and any access to women that he has is controlled by the environment that he's in. So he has to make do with, as he says, the tools of his trade. Is it not? Yous lot, let me know what you think. Ella and Leah have a talk, because Ella wants to literally have a talk with Leah in regards to how she's seeing things, and maybe just like, you know, putting Leah on point to say, look, the shit that was happening between you and Ty, I didn't really like, especially when he got you to get up and like spin around. And basically, Leah did say that he told her that he was open. And as I'm saying again, this is the name of this game within Love Island. This is how people are going to play it at the end of the day. They're not necessarily going to tell you the whole truth when you pull them to the side and have a chat with them. Some of the girls may do, some not do, but the boys are definitely not going to tell you the whole truth. They're going to tell you what they think you want to hear, and then you will kind of have to read between the motherfucking lines on that one. And all I would say is, God help ya on that. So then it moves on to like, we gets the text through, and her and Medi go on a date and they go tandem biking. That looks like a lot of hard pissing work, you know, tandem biking, because you're literally beholden to the person at the front to get yourself stable so you can get a momentum going. So yeah, that would not be a date that I would love to go on, to be fair. I don't know where they get the ideas of these dates from, but they're not all that great. I mean, some of them, you're sitting there on a table and all you're doing is drinking champagne, and they might give you a charcuterie board with like your grapes and your cheeses and a little bit of biscuits on there. That's not a date. That's not a date. That's just a setup in order for you to talk and say what you need to say to each other. That's how I'm seeing it. It's literally not an intimate kind of, well, it is kind of an intimate setting, isn't it? Because it's just them two on their own. But it's not necessarily a date in my books. So then it goes to Ty and Leah. So Ty's pulled Leah again to have a talk. And again, Ella is preying the hell out of them. She's side-eyeing the fuck out of Ty at the moment because she is not happy. But what I did notice is that when Leah came in and Ty was speaking to her, as Ty's inner fuckboy, the flirt Bert, was coming out, he literally did not really have that much time for Ella. Like, he didn't really speak to her unless Ella was pulling him to one side in that regard. So I thought in that sense, that's a little bit fucked up. And I find that pattern with some of the lads, in terms of when they start speaking to someone new, they don't necessarily have time for the person that they're coupled up with and been coupled up with for a while. So then it goes to like Charlotte and Zach. Charlotte's pulled Zach to the side because Charlotte likes Zach and Leah likes Zach. As I said, this man is sprinkling something in their food or in their tea, because yes, he's a good looking bloke. I'll give him that. He is a good looking bloke. And he's got the extra little bit of going on. But other than that, his attitude stinks. Like, when it comes to women and how he's, like, he gives that love talk. He gives that talk to the women and they all seem to fall for it. But other than that, I really don't know what else is going for him. I don't know. I just, me, myself, I can't see it. But yous, like, let me know what you think. So basically, he's talking to her in regards to Molly, letting her know that, you know, he's got an interest in Molly. He isn't completely closed off, people. The shop is not closed on that. The shop is not closed. It's still early days with Molly, and he's just getting to know her, basically. I think Molly wants him to close off, to be fair. Molly wants him shut just to her. If anything told you about the eye through the trellis, Molly wants him shut just to her, which is a bit of a turnabout when it comes to Molly, because she wasn't that way. She wasn't technically that way with Mitch. She was giving Mitch the chatter and hugging him and kissing him and everything like that, but she wasn't necessarily like kind of hanging on Mitch's every word the way she's hanging on to freaking Zach like a limpet up a freaking tree at the end of the day. So then it moves on to Ty and Ella again. So they come together, and this is where I say that these two don't know how to communicate, because they get proper aggy with each other. So Ty's asking her if she's fine, and she's saying she's fine, and you can clearly see the girl is not fine. I don't know why as women we tend to do that, you know. We tend to do that quite a lot, where if someone asks us to be fine, you can clearly see, if you've got an expressive face, like I've got an expressive face, that the person is not okay, but the first words out of your mind, your mouth, sorry, is I'm fine. So Ella does the same thing, and he's basically saying, and I'm basically saying, in regards to Ty, he's asking you how you feel. Just tell him at the end of the day, because that's what he wants to know. And this is where the communication fails between the both of them, and they don't tend to actively listen to each other, because at the end of the day, Ty is saying that he does care about her, and he apologizes as well in regards to the issue that got them previously being angry with each other. But again, they don't tend to listen to each other, and Ella literally pulled down her barriers at that stage and allowed him to touch her and kiss her and all the good stuff at the end of the day, even though he made her kind of look like a damn fool when he was messing with Leah. But that's Ty in a nutshell. That's Ty in a nutshell. To accept him is to kind of accept the other shit that he has going on, because until he works on that shit, he ain't going to be good for nobody, especially for someone like Ella at the end of the day. But that's my thoughts and feelings on it, and you can let me know what you think. So then it goes to the night. Dreaded text comes in. What happens with the text? It's the boys picking. So it is a recoupling, and here we go. And just remember, we've got 2 new girls in, so we will see what happens. So basically, Charlotte and Leah get to pick first. So that's a twist. So everyone's sitting there like, oh shit, here we go. So as Molly was, or Zach was probably thinking that they would pick each other, it's not going to happen that way, is it? No, it's not. Why is it not going to happen that way? Because Charlotte picked Zach. Molly was shocked as fuck that Charlotte picked Zach. Now, Charlotte already said that she had an interest in Zach, but her and Zach didn't really talk that much, especially after the conversation that they just had in regards to Molly, and Zach was telling Charlotte that he was opening to get to know Molly, like he wanted to know her more, because there's things about her that he finds that he's attracted to, and he wants to know more about her. So from him going from that conversation, then for Charlotte to pick him was fuckery right there. I think, and I said, you know what, that's the motherfucking universe telling yous lot that used to right now ain't meant to be. Maybe you need to rethink your options. But yes, that shocked the hell out of Molly, and that shocked the hell out of Zach. So then we have next up Leah, and I thought, I know what's going to happen here. I know what's going to happen here. And who did Leah pick? Leah picked Ty. Yes, she did. Now, Ella was proper pissed at that. Ella was pissed at that because from her thinking, she's thinking the only way that Leah could pick Ty is if he gave her an inkling or some kind of idea that she could have the audacity to pick him, basically, knowing full well that he's tied in with Ella. Leah knows he's tied in with Ella, but the problem with Ty is he's too much of a flirt bag. He likes to let things go too much, and he doesn't read the room all that often. As I said, it's behaviours that he has to learn and reflect on. So then we go to Andre, and of course Andre picks Catherine, because we knew he was going to pick Catherine because he's wanting Catherine from day dot. So Andre's picked Catherine. Medi picks Wit. Again, we knew that was going to happen. Sammy picks Jess. And Mitch is looking on, and Zach is heated, motherfucking heated. But then Mitch goes and picks Molly. Now, I'd have to say I'm quite surprised by that, or should I be surprised by that? Because the pick that he probably wanted to go for was Leah, but Leah had already picked Ty. So the only other option he had was basically, Molly, Rucci and Ella. Now, for him, I think he should have picked Ella, but he didn't. He picked Molly, and I was like, oh, okay. So you ain't learnt your lesson then. You ain't learnt nothing at all, have ya? So, the two people that end up single now are Rucci and Ella. And now they have to kind of choose who stays out of those two. So all of them are having their confab. And the thing of it is I'm not sure if they got them to walk away. I think they got them to walk away because it would have been bait if they got them to stand there while they were conversing and saying who stays or not. But it was a big, massive fucking full-on, confab. So at the end of it all, as we knew it was going to happen, Ella got to stay and Rucci was basically dumped off the island. And that, my people, is where I am going to leave it for episode 9. I shall be back in quick succession with episode 10. Anyway, I shall say, please, as I say, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button, and we will meet back here again, and we will talk about all the things that are Love Island. Peace out.